Hello, beautiful people. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I am Honest Am, the creator and writer of the Honestly Sis newsletter, a bi-weekly newsletter geared towards millennials who are truly trying to get their shit together. And I am here for another daily motivational video. We use the tarot to become the alchemists of our lives and to teach us how to become spiritual beings. A little bit about me. I do not choose the tarot. I use God and customs in the same sentence. I may mispronounce some things, but if it does not stop Charlamagne and God, it will not stop me. So y'all, I apologize. I was actually about to start this video with this thing on it. It's hot. Y'all know it's summertime. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Dear God, guardian angels and ancestors, we come to you as humbly as we know how to just say thank you. Thank you for waking us up. Now we ask what information you deem worthy for us to hear. Please deliver these messages to me and through me as soon as possible. God, I pray. Ashe. Angel number 38. All right, let's do two messages. Make these two quick little messages. I'm not gonna ramble. Oh, of course. And 3 came out, but it's okay. The very first message that came out is surrender. God is asking us, angel number 130. I think that this goes along with our message that we've been getting a lot about going along the path of least resistance, which means that whatever come up, whatever is happening in your life, just fully accepting it, having radical acceptance is just going with the flow. Right now, God is saying, like, don't get too attached to like what's happening right now. There may be a lot of changes happening. You may find yourself very frustrated. And right now, God is saying, allow yourself to feel your feelings and just surrender. Because right now it is going to strengthen your stance. He's asking you to, when I see this card of strength, there's an angel standing here with the tree in the back. And I just feel like this is God is just saying, surrender to the outcome and just stand your ground, focusing on your passion, stay grounded within yourself, because this is going to strengthen you, whether it's strengthening your personality, strengthening like your work ethic. It kind of like, as I'm seeing this card of strength, it's reminding me of that quote that pressure makes diamonds, or they can bust pipes or whatever. God is saying that this time right now is ultimately helping you become that diamond. The last card that came out is depth, and depth is dealing with our emotions, and we literally see like an angel getting ready to go in the depth of his emotions, and it takes me right back to that message of surrender, where I feel like a lot of stuff is coming up. You may be finding yourself in your emotions a lot, and God is saying, like, don't allow this to make you feel as though you're a bad person or make you feel like you're less than. Like, maybe I know for me, and this actually made me go look in my birth chart, because I realized that every time Cancer season come around, it hits me very, very hard. And I realized that that's because I have a Chiron, and my Chiron is in Cancer, and Chiron is all about the wounded warrior, and my Chiron sits in my 10th house, and I think that also speaks about, your reputation, and then like your issues with having Chiron in Cancer. It talks about the issues with the family, and so every time I come into this Cancer season, I find myself in like my emotions and just like really unable to like kind of shake it, like I really found myself listening to this last Friday. I went back and I was listening to the message of, this chapter of your life wouldn't kill you, just because I was like really, really feeling my emotions, really feeling everything that I was going through. And so if you also, angel number 334, you find yourself in this type of moment, I feel like we're all going through this in Cancer season. God is saying to just surrender. Know that all of this is happening to make you more stronger, to make you better. So don't trip. Just stay focused on your end goal, and staying one with yourself. But don't take my word for it. I'm actually going to go into our cards, and just because this is starting to feel like a little energy reading, and just see what this message of surrender, strength, and depth is all about. Your God, guardian angels, and ancestors, what are you trying to get us to understand about surrendering in this Cancer season? How is all of this emotional stuff going to help make us stronger in the long run? Or what do you deem worthy for us to hear about this message of surrender, strength, and depth? Allow no room for doubt or confusion in me or the viewer's mind. And God, am I proud? Angel number 411. Angel number 411. What do we need to know about this card of strength? Okay. I like it. Okay. So, actually all of these. So I think the deck was upside down. Okay, so the first card that came out is surrender. Right now you are, like I was saying, angel number 505. You're feeling very left out in the cold. Maybe you have been, making a lot of changes, staying to yourself a lot. And you're in your feelings about that, or whatever is happening. Maybe there may be something happening within your family and you're feeling out, left in the cold. Whatever is going on, you're feeling injured, you're feeling isolated, and God is saying, like, instead of staying stuck in that, he's asking you to just surrender. Don't stay stuck here. Just know that this is just a moment in time. For some reason, I just keep hearing that, like, surrender and know that this is just a moment in time. Because ultimately, as you see this, they're walking in the cold, and it looks like they're walking to shelter. So what God is trying to say is, like, surrender to whatever is happening right now, and know that eventually you're going to walk out of it and get on the other side. Eventually this thing is going to strengthen you and make you feel like the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands came out under surrender, and we know that the Queen of Wands is a woman who is she's very driven, she's very passionate. What she creates, it also feeds her and others. With this sunflower, we see this cat here knowing that she's one with her intuition. We know that she's not afraid to deal with the taboo. And so what this is telling me is that God is saying, use your skill, this period of your life. He's saying surrender to this period of your life because it's ultimately teaching you how to become the Queen of Wands. And so instead of focusing on the lack, instead of focusing on the isolation, God is saying turn your attention to, your passions, turn your attentions to those tools that you have learned. Like this cat here with this passion, with this stick, is making me think about, how we always hear, like, people talk about having a morning routine or having, certain practices in place. They always say, like, billionaires and millionaires, they always have these certain things that they do in the morning. And the reason why they do that, the reason why they have that, is because they have to find a way to get themselves in this mentality to, get on the grind, to be a leader, to, be growing in all these different directions. So before they even start their day, they take this moment to, center themselves and to focus themselves. And that's also what that's what this whole healing journey is about. The whole healing journey is about you learning to get certain tools and learning how to become the master of yourself, meaning that you're learning how to master your own emotions. And so what God is saying is just surrender to whatever is going on. Don't resist it. Don't be like, oh, this shouldn't be happening. This is happening. This is your life. It is what it is. But instead of staying stuck on what's going on, God is really asking you to think about those tools that you had in the beginning of your journey. Because when we first begin our healing journey, when we first begin our spiritual walk, we're doing all of those tools and practices. We're meditating every day. We're journaling. We're going to yoga. We're doing all of these things. But then when we start getting further and further along our journey, we forget. And we think that we don't need those tools anymore, but those tools are to help us be the Queen of Wands, to strengthen us in our stance and who we are as a spiritual being. And so that's what God is saying, that this period of your life is just surrender to it. Don't focus on the bad, but instead know that you're walking through this, and really use this period to hone in your skills, your tools, and all of those good things. For our depth of our emotions, what God is saying is that, yeah, it's going to feel very overwhelming. But again, this is the Ten of Wands. Again, this is all speaking about, like, somebody working on an endeavor, putting a lot of time and effort into it, not really seeing it pay off. But what God is saying is that instead of giving up, because this is what this guy is, he's Ten of Wands. He's carrying these things. He's not really seeing what's in front of him. And he probably just wants to drop what he has in his hand. But he also knows that there's a house right here. Also going back to this message of this Five of Pentacles, of you walking through. And that's what God is trying to say. Like, don't give up. Like, it feels hard. You're going through your depth of your emotions. But they always say that it gets the darkest before the dawn, right? And so what God is saying is that right now, you may be feeling like you want to give up. You may be feeling like, no matter how hard you work, you're the Queen of Wands. You've done all these things to ground yourself and to change the cycle of your life. What God is saying is to stay focused on that, to keep your head down, feel those feelings, but just ultimately just surrender to them. Allow them to move through you. Move forward. move towards your goals. You got the Queen, the Knight of Wands. All of this wands is talking about your passion. With the last card that came out is the Wheel of Fortune, was telling me is that God is saying is that right now you're in your cycle of change. You're in your cycle. If I think about it, what's been coming to me, you guys know I've been using this quote a lot, is about like the butterfly in the cocoon, and you are at the part where God is telling you to get out of the cocoon. And I always think about it like, what if the butterfly, what if she gets so comfortable in the cocoon and that she never comes out? She gets so comfortable being in this isolated part that she never comes out and realizes that she's a butterfly, she can fly. And that's what's ultimately happened to you now. You've been in your cocoon, and I feel like you're nervous, you feel isolated, you feel, not even like you feel nervous to come out. I just feel like you're feeling very hurt about your journey. But what God is trying to get you to understand is that you had to go through all those things to ultimately you had to go through all these things so that you can change this cycle. With this Wheel of Fortune come out, it makes me think about karma. It makes me think about cycles. It makes me think about seasons. And this Wheel of Fortune card, it talks all about forces outside of our control, dealing with our destiny. And that's why you're feeling so out in the cold. I bet you, because before we had like a reading where you was like on top of the world, and God is like, you did all these changes, and now you're realizing that yes, I'm changed, but you also are like in the in-between between your new life and your old life. And God is saying, instead of feeling isolated, instead of feeling like God forgot about you, instead continue to focus on your dreams, continue to focus on your endeavors, continue to be the Queen of Wands, 1135, because eventually you're going to get to that safe place. The cycle is going to be done, and you're going to be able to move forward and feel accomplished. So God is saying just to surrender to your emotions. Don't take things personally right now. All of this stuff is just happening to get you to your next step. So just feel your emotions and go through it. I'm going to go into, because this feels like I'm going to go into getting into the vortex, because this feels like a tool that I'm trying to understand, like this feels like something God is trying to teach us something here. Dear God, give us a tool that we can use for this message of surrender, strength, depth, with the Queen, with the Five of Pentacles, Queen of Wands, Ten of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, and the Knight of Wands. Also, I feel like for some reason with the Five of Pentacles being in the center of this reading, and then it being, mirrored with all of this, with all of these wands, I feel like what's happening right now is that God, whatever this cycle you're going through, is going to strengthen you're going to strengthen the way that you earn a living. You're going to change the way that you work. You're going to change the way that that you provide for yourself. Again, like I said, you've been working on something for a very long time. You haven't really seen like that big payoff, but God is saying keep working. You feel overlooked. God's saying keep working. Your victory is coming. All of these things are happening because you're at the end of your cycle, so don't give up. Yeah, you're at the end of your cycle. Don't give up. Whatever's happening right now is going to change the way that you earn a living. This is dealing with the way that you earn a living, and you're going to, in your passion, what you're passionate about. And so if you've been working very hard on trying to change your career, or you've been working very hard on like an endeavor or something like that, I have a feeling that something is going to happen. Like you're going to soon see a reward. That's why God is saying don't give up. The card that flew out is My Imagination Attracts All Cooperative Relationships. The universe and all physical and non-physical players in it is responding to vibrations that you are offering. And no distinction is made between the vibrations that you offer as you observe and the vibration you offer as you imagine. If you will simply imagine your life as you want it to be, all cooperative components will be summoned. And even more important, all components that are summoned will cooperate. It is law. The experience you have with others is about how you evoke them. So this takes me right back here to this Five of Pentacles. And it says, if you will simply imagine your life as you want it. Right now, you are feeling as though you are left out in the cold, and you're telling yourself stories like, God forgot about me, God don't care about me, angel number 1441. And so instead of saying that, God is saying, don't feel that way. Surrender to what's happening, surrender to the outcome, and start telling yourself the story about how God is ultimately getting you to your end goal. All of this is happening for your end. All of this is happening so that you can be happier in the long run. But God is saying, if you continue to be in this energy of, oh, nobody loves me, God forgot about me, I'm left out in the cold, then guess what? None of that good stuff can come to you, and you'll always feel like you're just, you'll always feel like you're working hard and you're never seeing the end goal. You're not going to be able to end this cycle if you stay focused, or if you keep yourself in this energy. So God is saying, don't be in that energy of being like, oh, God don't care about me, God forgot about me. Instead, again, be the Queen of Wands, remembering your tools, remembering your journaling, thinking about what this stuff is coming up as these things are coming up, asking you, what is it telling you about yourself? I know for me, it's been telling me that I don't just want to, be around people for the sake of being around people. I want to be around people that see me. I want to have genuine conversations. I want to have relationships that has depth. I think about, I really don't know the background between Crystal and Fran and them, but I always think about their friendship, angel number 1606, and I'm like, I want friends like that can see me. And so instead of telling myself, oh, I'm never going to have friends, I just tell myself, as I'm feeling out in the cold, as I'm feeling like nobody loves me, this is just a point in time. This is not going to be my life forever. Eventually, I'm going to have an amazing friend group. Eventually, I'm going to have an amazing life, an amazing career, and all of these things are going to be the thing from the past. This is what God's trying to get you to understand. If you would simply imagine your life as you want it to be, all cooperative components will be summoned, and even more important, the ones that are summoned will cooperate. It is law. So this is what God is saying. You don't have to work so hard. You don't have to feel like you have to do everything on your own. But if only you would just go in the depth of your emotions, feel your feelings, imagine the type of life that you will lead, go head forth in it, and then God will eventually change the cycle for you. Angel number 17. The next message that came out is, I can focus on what I do want in a relationship. By focus upon the wanted, again, what God is saying, surrender. You so focused on all of this bad stuff, but God is saying, don't even think about this. You're moving through. This chapter will eventually be behind you. God is saying, by focusing upon the wanted characteristics of those around you, you will train your vibration offering to match only the best in them. And then the law of attraction can no longer match you with the worst of them. When you look, then they can no longer do it with the worst of you, so you won't have to work so hard. Again, this is talking about changing your cycle. When you focus upon the worst of them, you train your vibrational offering to only match the worst of them, and the law of attraction can no longer match you with the best of them. So again, God is saying, you may be in this energy of feeling out in the cold, or feeling like everybody has forgot about you. You're lonely. Nobody cares. Blah. It's not always going to be this way. God is saying, surrender. Listen to your feelings. Listen to what it's trying to tell you, because it's eventually... the reason why I feel like God is saying you need to listen to your feelings, because it's telling you what you ultimately want. And so a lot of us, when we feel emotional, we try to ignore it, or we try to block it. We try to act like it's not happening. And when we do that, we can't get that information to change the cycle. But if we feel our feelings and be like, you know what? I feel lonely. I feel isolated. Why do I feel this way? Because I don't have friends. Well, why don't you have friends? Because the friendships that I used to have, they were all superficial. Why were they superficial? Well, because I didn't really know myself. Okay, well, now that I know myself, I know that I can have better friendships. I know that I'm moving towards better friendships. And the better that I get, the better that my life get. When you keep telling yourself that story, when you use this time of being out in the cold, and just instead strengthen yourself, becoming the Queen of Wands in your life, becoming the master of your emotions, eventually you will get to that end goal. You will be able to drop the load, and then the cycle will be changed, and you'll be able to move forward and feel so much more accomplished and so much more abundant. Okay, all right, like this is so easy. Other opinions are less important than my personal guidance system. Angel number 1919. I'm not even going to read that, but again, what God is just saying is all about what you choose to give your attention to, what you choose to focus on in your time of lack. We all are going to have cycles where this is why this is what this Wheel of Fortune is about. We're all going to have times in our life where we're going to feel like we're on the top of on the top of our game and when we're in the valley. It's just like the seasons. You're going to have summer and then you're going to have winter. You're going to have spring and then you're going to have fall. You're going to have those times where things have to fall away, and then you eventually have the time where things have to blossom. But if you feel like, if you continue to stay in this energy, and that's what that message of, if this message, this time in your life isn't going to kill you. If you stay focused on the bad, if you keep thinking it's not going to get better, it can't get better. That's the whole purpose of this healing journey. The whole purpose of you learning these spiritual tools is so you can be the Queen of Wands. It's so that you can learn how to end these cycles on your own. Angel number 2022. And it doesn't come for you, doing spells, but it comes from you being able to master your emotions and know that even though you may be going through a bad moment in your life, it's temporary and it'll eventually pass. And it'll pass quicker when you focus on what you do want and not on what you do not want. Okay? All right, y'all. Let me get one final message to get you guys up out of here. I'm actually going to go ahead and go to this suit piece and see what this is all about. Dear God, guardian angels, and ancestors, what do you want us to know about this message of surrender, strength, depth? Why do we need to know that this is just a moment in our life? This is just a chapter in our life, and that instead of getting caught up in the drama of the cycle, just surrendering to it, be focusing on becoming the master of our life and knowing that eventually our luck will change. Why is it so important to know that if we focus on what we do want in a relationship, we can get it? Why is it so important for us to know that others' opinions is less important than our own personal guidance system, and that our imagination attracts all cooperative relationships? Why is it so important for us to surrender in this moment in time in our life? Allow no room or doubt, confusion in me or the viewer's mind. One card, please, God. Okay. You're going to take the card on the top. The card on the top is slow down to relax. Break to enjoy the beauty around you. And then underneath is way of faith. Let faith be your guide. So again, it takes me back to this message of surrender. You feel like you're out in the cold. You feel like God forgot about you. You feel like you feel like you're never going to be able to get out of this cycle. And God is saying, if you keep thinking like that, you won't be able to get out that cycle. But if you'll just focus on those tools and those skills that you learned as the Queen of Wands. Remember the Queen of Wands, she started with the Ace of Wands. And then she had to get all these things. The Queen of Wands had to go through this period of when she was at the Ten of Wands, where she felt like she was about to give up, where she felt like she couldn't get to this point of, dropping her load. The Queen of Wands had to get beyond this Knight of Wands, where he dropped the load and he continued to race forward to become the Queen of Wands. So this is what God is saying. God is saying that you have all of these, you've done the work. You've developed these skills. You know how to change this cycle. And I honestly feel like what he's saying is that you need to just slow down, stop trying to think your way out of it, and just know that by having faith, by doing those baby steps, that eventually you will see there will be a new tomorrow. But don't take my don't take my word for it. I was gonna say don't take my day for it. Don't take my word for it. Angel 2323. Let's go ahead to the book to see what this message of slow down to relax is all about. Patience is not just sitting and waiting. It is envisioning. It is looking at the thorn and seeing the rose. Looking at the night and seeing the day. Lovers are patient and know that the moons needs to be filled. Oh, excuse me. I'll read that one more time. Patience is not just sitting and waiting. It is envisioning. It is looking at the thorn and seeing the rose. Looking at the night and seeing the day. Lovers are patient and know that even the moon needs time to become full. Rumi. Whew, that is deep. There are times when we feel weary, drained, and fatigued. Everything seems to be moving at its normal pace, yet our usual energy, drive, and motivation takes a bit of a dive. This is when our body and soul are telling us to slow down, take care, and not burn ourselves out. The time has arrived to sit back, relax, and focus on foreseeing the future. Rumi carries a powerful message. Turn your focus inward towards your spiritual development. You are being called to slow down, to see more of the beauty around you. Rumi wants you to realize, if you haven't already, that the power is within you and you can create anything you wish. All the answers you have been looking for are revealing themselves to you now. But first, you must take the time to connect with the inner source of your divine power. By quieting your mind, not only will you be able to see things more clearly and less reactively, but the spaces in your mind bring forth some amazing insights. Whether it is in the past life patterns or something you have learned, it is time to set yourself free so you may live more creatively and step into your true power. Angel number 2525. And so I feel like this message just like perfectly wraps everything up. God is just saying that right now you are at this period, and it reminds me of like this another it's actually a card that is in the Sacred Rebel decks, and it talks about like you being at this part of your life where it doesn't matter what you do, you can't seem to get out of it. And it says it's not because of you not having your skills, it's just because you're doing something new. And I know personally that, you know, I have been feeling like I had to slow down. I'm doing these videos on Sunday at like 7 o'clock because I just, you know, I haven't really been, you know, in that grind mode. I've really been like just taking my time, and I'm talking about cancer season, but this message is saying like maybe it's not just cancer season, maybe it's all of us. Like maybe God is just trying to show us that we don't have to do so much to get results. And so I have been personally just like I've been diving back into my yoga practice, because it's like when I feel like I don't know, I know I need to go within, because those are ultimately where the answers are. And so right now you may be feeling isolated, you may be feeling like God forgot about you, and what God is saying is that this message of surrender is saying like surrender to what's happening around you and just go within. Don't stay focused on all of these external things. Just stay focused on making sure that you can do the best that you can on a day-to-day basis. And if that means that sometimes that you need to just sit your ass down and just watch TV, watch some Real Housewives of Atlanta and just chill out, then that's what you have to do. We have to realize that our power as spiritual beings, it doesn't come in our productivity. And I'm saying this to you, but I'm also saying this to myself, because I've been feeling guilty because I haven't been working so hard, but it's because God is saying that we don't need to be working so hard. There's other ways to get things about, and I feel like what God is saying is that we put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of energy into our endeavors, and now it's just time to watch those seeds grow, okay? All right, y'all, that is all the messages I have for you. If you made it to the end of this message, please give me a thumbs up. If you made it to the end of this message, you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Until we meet again, dream those dreams. Never let the internet rush you, and never, ever, ever let someone tell you what you cannot do. Mwah! I will see you soon in the next video coming to you. Bye-bye.